Thank you, sir. Mr. Sriram Nagarajan works with IGNIS, a group of professionals working to improve the quality of education for marginalized children across India. He was a Reuter Fellow at the University of Oxford, UK. He has held senior editorial positions in print media before moving to the field of education full-time. I request Mr. Sriram to introduce Mr. Rajendra Tamarapura, recipient of the P.P. Raman Award.
Good morning to you. It's a little embarrassing to introduce a friend. But anyway, Vinay called upon me to do this duty. About 14 years ago, I'm not a professional educator. I'm exactly like Vinay. I'm not a professional educator. I was in other professions. I am still in other professions, but I dabbled into education because I found that when my daughter was growing up, she was going through an experience. I got interested in that education experience, so I became a teacher, I became an educator, I became a consultant, and all of that followed. About 14 years ago, I did a small booklet, all of 15 minutes. It was in Tamil, and it was titled Constructivist Pedagogy in Tamil, called Akkaviya Asiriyam. I was quite excited. I was so excited that I decided that I must meet this person. So his number was given at the back of the booklet. So Rajendran is from a village. He's probably never been to a city. He was never been to a city before that. Now, of course, he is a globetrotter. So I decided to visit his village and see this person. So I met him, and one thing led to the other, and we became friends. We became colleagues in some projects, and we continued our friendship. And I would like to present Rajendran for two broad categories. One is that he is a myth buster. He must have broken many myths, but on the top of my mind, he has broken at least 3 myths. First myth is that the knowledge transfer or pedagogy transfer or technology transfer or technique transfer or whatever you call it is typically from urban to rural areas. You find schools absorbing techniques perfected by some professor in a New York University or Harvard or elsewhere. Rajendran has brought the reverse direction to it. He has always. How many of you have studied in the same school and have taught in the same school? Okay, 2 of you. This man studied in the same school, taught in the same school, and retired from the same school. So, and that school is in a village, not in a city. So, in that sense, the path, the direction of his knowledge flow was from a rural school to urban schools. He has been to countries. He has been a consultant to various organizations across the country. He is now consulting for SCRT Tamil Nadu. He is training teachers across the country, across the state. All the knowledge came from a rural school, not from he never went to an urban school. His knowledge, accumulation, discovery, all of that, whatever you call it, has been a transfer from a rural area to an urban area. That is the first myth broken. You don't have to transfer anything from, typically what transfers from a rural area to urban area is some practice in agriculture or, organic farming or something like that. This is not that. You are talking about the most sophisticated pedagogy techniques which got transferred from a rural environment to an urban environment. Rajendran was in some sense the karta for that. The second point is that you don't have to be a subject expert. Rajendran doesn't have a degree in mathematics. Now, he never went to a top college. He never went to an Ivy League college. But at the primary level, I have not known of a better mathematics teacher than him. It is just that he brings to focus that at that level you are teaching children, you are not teaching a subject. Now, teaching children is very different from the attitude, is very different from teaching a subject. That's what he brings to the table. He teaches not just mathematics. Raising a Mathematician Foundation has decided to honor him for his mathematics contribution, but there is significant contribution that he has made in other fields also, for example, in language teaching. So the point is to focus on teaching children, and you don't have to be a subject expert. You don't have to have degrees in mathematics from top institutes in order to be recognized as a great mathematics teacher. Some of our children went to city schools. Some of our children have benefited through us because we were parents and we benefited from interacting with Rajendran. And now our children have gone on to the globally top ranking universities, but he contributed to laying that foundation. So that was the second myth broken. No subject, if you are not exactly a mathematics gold medalist, doesn't matter. You can teach maths. Third is that it doesn't matter what kind of children you have in your class and what kind of school you work in. Rajendran worked in a government school all his life. And because of that, there was no criteria set for taking children. There was no selection process. You get anybody who comes for admission, you have to take in. There was no question of denying admission to anyone. But in such an atmosphere, in a government school, in a village, you teach mathematics and you get students interested. You actually create such ripples that states and governments as well as organizations seek your advice and help. So that is the third myth that he had broken, that it doesn't matter what kind of students you have. You can create magic in any classroom with any group of children. It doesn't matter that you need to have only toppers. So these are the three myths. I just want to talk about, I'll take just a few more minutes. He has many great qualities. I would just mention three qualities which we could possibly think about for ourselves. One is that his principal quality is that he is tremendously sensitive to every child in the classroom. He is not the teacher for first benchers. He teaches to the last child in the class. So he makes sure he's alert. He's extremely alert. He makes sure that everyone learns in the class. It's not just the first bencher. He doesn't confine his teaching to a few in the class. So everyone learns. That's a great quality. I mean, he has perfected it over decades, but I think that is an aspiration to keep for all of us. Second point is that he is still a learner. He is open-minded. We have had our disagreements. I got actually some kind of Aksharabhyas in education because of him. And then we moved on and we have had our disagreements, we have had our fights, we have had, we have, in some sense, I still have disagreements on many of his, or some of his strategies and techniques. But on all this, he was absolutely open-minded. He would, in that small booklet which I mentioned in the beginning, the last sentence was that if a better pedagogy comes, we will accept that and check this out. So that is the kind of open-mindedness he had, that if you offer him a better technique or if you prove that something is better than what he is doing or what somebody else is doing, let us adopt that, because the focus is on the children learning, not on holding some pedagogy to be holy and we need to go with this. There is no such kind of sacrosanct concept in education. Whatever makes children learn better, we will go with that. So he is still a learner. And third point is that his absolutely unflagging spirit. He is past 60? Okay, he is 63. He is very quiet in saying that. But he has, I don't have, I am younger to him, but I don't have the energy, half his energy. So he can beat any 20-year-old person in the kind of focus and commitment to teaching. He's absolutely relentless. A great point about him is that he is focused. He is not interested in what Manjul Bhargava has contributed or what even Ramanujam has contributed. He is focused on what his class children will learn and how he can do better and how they can learn better. That is what has made him to be an exemplary kind of a math teacher, right? So he is a man possessed in that sense, and committed and absolutely focused. I just want to mention one example and then one last word. One example is that when I brought him to the city for the first time, I think we went to a top elite school where I was sort of teaching part time, and absolutely elite school. And they were happy to have Rajendran. Rajendran was asked to take a class for maths class for class 5, and my daughter was there in class 5. He started taking the class. The period got over. 45 minutes. There was no bell. There was no bell in that school. So the next teacher for the next class came, saw that the children were totally absorbed, and there was something going on. The next teacher just walked away. There was no point in disturbing the class. That period also got over. The third period started, and the third period teacher came in and saw that that class was still engrossed, and that teacher also walked away. At the end of the day, the children are asked in that school, there is a habit that you are asked to write what was the most challenging task you had today, what was the most interesting task that you had today. Almost every child in the class said that Rajendran's class. And this man was from a village, and it was an absolutely elite school, and some of them have gone on to top universities in the world now. So that he has laid the foundation for that. And one thing, I remember almost all the conversations I have had with him. But one conversation strikes me as important. He said in a meeting with the principal asked, what defines a teacher? What is the most important, what is the distilled wisdom of being a good teacher? He said it in Tamil. He said, உள்ளார்ந்த அன்பு வேணும் குழந்தைகள் மேல. You need to have intrinsic affection for the children you are teaching. If you have that, everything else will fall in place. If you don't have that, you have to first get it, and then rest of them will fall in place. I congratulate Rajendran. It's a bit embarrassing, as I said, but on getting this award, and I congratulate Vinay for deciding to give this highly sort of deserving person. At the same time, his value goes much beyond an award. So if possible, engage with him, question him, disagree with him, agree with him, fight with him, do all that, you will learn a lot. Thank you very much.
Honored to know about this great personality. Pranams to you, sir. I invite Dr. Manoj Jaiswal and Sri Vikas Aryaji, Secretary DAV Group of Schools, to present a memento and felicitate Mr. Rajendran, who is seated here.